Well, it was a total of 8 vlogs, and I worked, and I was reading Sam Shepard's Unseen Hand and Other Plays. I read, that's where I hit my eye on a cabinet. It's basically I hit my cheekbone. It affects it basically gives you a black eye. I hit my cheekbone on a cabinet. Okay, so Sam Shepard wrote Unseen Hands and Other Plays. One of them is called 1400,000, which is about these people kind of moving in and taking these books from this lower level of this apartment complex, whatever it may be, to a higher level. And these, sometimes it calls for blue light, and sometimes it calls for very bright white light. So Sam Shepard was experimenting with light on stage, as well as dialogue that was poetic, but in a colloquial way. I would call it colloquial poetry, meaning it sounded like normal language, but because of the situation and the circumstances and when the lines are given, very similar to Rabbits. If you ever seen David Lynch's Rabbits, it hits a sense of well, Southern Gothic maybe, even though it was set in like the city, like maybe a big city. I wouldn't really say Southern Gothic, I'm going to take that back, but I would say that's more Flannery O'Connor. I'd say Sam Shepard's stuff is borderline surrealism at time. He worked with Joe Chaikin in the Open Theater, but borderline surrealism and then realism. So True West was very real, but 1400,000 it enters into surrealism in a way, not completely. It's not a dream play per se, but there's reality there, but there's moments of almost absurdity because of the way that they would say something or the timing on when they would say it. The rhythm of the language makes it kind of absurd. It's not necessarily what they say that twists, but he also uses the word very quite often within the dialogue. Like he'll have very in one part of the sentence and then very here, and then another part here with another RY, and it would just sound funny. It turned out that that play was directed by a guy with the name Walter in it. He was a theater critic, but he was also a director. And he worked with Sam Shepard in that play, and he admitted that the play was a failure, and they published it. Sam Shepard one time had a covered book, a paper book, or it was like a book of plays that you could sell, and on the cover were all his horrible reviews. They didn't like doing that, but he wanted to do it. And he wanted to show his bad reviews. These were called disposable plays. That's what he calls them. And he's embarrassed of them. He passed away. He died a few years back from ALS. He called it disposable. So he just wrote it and gave it to him really quick. Later, when he developed his craft and he got older, around the time of True West, and he had already been given an Obie and a Pulitzer, he got a Pulitzer Prize for Berry Child. He basically realized that he was honing his craft. He began speaking at True West, is what I think. The play True West, you start to hear him. Every other play is like a dream or something. It's like it's his voice. He said he communed with the dead, but it was like the spiritual kind of weird, absurd, surreal voice. Then in True West, he just starts talking. I mean, Sam Shepard, the playwright. All of a sudden, his voice is there, and you're hearing him, and you're seeing him. He showed himself in True West. Then he goes back into this dream thing again. That was a playwright that did that. Sam Shepard did work in Hollywood. He was a Hollywood actor. He did Days of Heaven with Terrence Malick. It's a beautiful film. Richard Gere's in it. For one scene, they had to use peanut shells to represent locust because they couldn't get the locust to do what they wanted. So they had peanut shells fall, and they played the film backwards to look like they were working in the field with the locust. Sam Shepard was in that and gave one of the best performances that I'd ever seen. Anyway, Gotta go. He did many things. He did many movies. He played Butch Cassidy alongside the Sundance Kid in some film about a fictional account of Butch Cassidy. He also was in several different dramas. Like he was in a baby drama, I think it was called Baby Boom, about babies. He did comedies. He was a regular movie star almost, kind of. He did have some problems, you know. He was hit in the mouth by a horse's hoof, but he just worked his way through it. He was an avid smoker. He loved to drive. He'd drive across the nation. He wrote a book called Cruising Paradise about him driving. Motel Chronicles is another thing. One of his best works is Days of Heaven, which is a movie with Terrence Malick. It was shot probably in the South or something. I have to find out. But Terrence Malick was a wonderful director. Still is today. I have a friend that worked with Terrence Malick. Charlie Baker, he worked with him in, I think it was The Wonder one. Into the Wonder or something. It was one with Ben Affleck. It was like right after A Night of Cups or around that time. I'm trying to think about Sam Shepard one more thing. Late Henry Moss, see that one. That one's good. And also see This So-Called Disaster with Nick Nolte and Sean Penn, Woody Harrelson. Check out that one. It's about a play he wrote in San Francisco. Well, he produced it in San Francisco at the Magic. Now, Days of Heaven was done in 1978. Why? Well, there's one God. That's 1. There is betrayal. That's 9. There is a good person, Sam Shepard. 7 days a week. Right? Sam was a good person. I think he may have been talking about a Christian concept, especially buried child, things like that. I think God was in his work. I think so. It's a thought that I think, and I believe. 8, Richard Gere's a Buddhist. 1978, Days of Heaven. Remember that year and that film. 1978, Days of Heaven. All right, pizza. Pizza. Christoph Waltz is teaching an acting class in New York City, but I can't take it right now. Here we go. All right.
What's taking so
looks like it's gonna be a cat named Crook. It's a long story. I had to go to Arlington.
Yeah.
The cook is moving on. He's got a baby on the way. All kinds of stuff. Got some Coca-Cola.
Thanks for the beer.
That one's mine. That one's hers.
That's yours, dear.
Okay, so we began the descriptions. All right, guys, here we go. A play in 2 acts, written by Cole Spivey, setting in townhome built 1969, Fort Worth, Texas, sometime in the summer of 2023, dramatist persona. Ash, the writer, he coughs occasionally, from Fort Worth. Ripped blue jeans, Walmart-style dress shirt, New Balance running shoes, thick metal wristwatch with silver futuristic wristband. The wristwatch glows occasionally after he coughs. Sniffles, also known as Snickles, the alcoholic. She coughs a bit more. She wears a fast food outfit, bright colors, and a symbol of a hamburger where the name badge goes. Cheap Snickers, off-brand titled Streetwise Genius on the sides. Edmund, a domestic cat, feline meow. Notes for Edmund: the cat can be played by a human or a trained feline, or the cat can be invisible. If the cat is chosen to be invisible, then the actors must use mime to interact with the cat. If the cat is played by a human, then the actor must wear a cat costume. With tail and makeup applied accordingly to reveal feline characteristics with realistic whiskers and such. If the cat is played by a person, any gender of actor will do. It is up to the director to choose the method of how the cat is played. Dustin's voice on phone, voice only. Mexican Day Worker 1, Mexican Day Worker 2. Voice of Scott on tape from a flat screen television only. Mr. Copyright Nazi, full Nazi uniform, any rank will do. The lights have not fully risen. Dark stage, a voice is heard from a loudspeaker. Night, speaking fast. To be continued. 2 people in a stray, or 5 years, or law, in sickness, or guff, or MacGuffin, or play by Ash Cole. Notes from life. YouTubers to play, people, fighter, jets, and stray cat. Curtain rises. The song 5 Years by David Bowie arises. From the TV set, up stage. The flat screen TV begins to glow, and it is the first light on the stage. Large flat screen television between 60 to 70 inches. The screen glows various colors as the rock song begins to play. The glowing light reveals an electric fan oscillating beside the TV entertainment stand. It is the first object seen on the stage until lights fully up. Pushing through the market square, so many mothers sighing. News had just come. We had 5 years left crying. New guys wept and told us Earth was really dying, dying. Cried so much its face was wet that I knew he was not lying, lying. The song cuts out. The voice arises. No nuance in the city. Other titles include Ash and Sniffles, Summer, Fall, or War of Fun, Cell, The Idea People, or Unauthorized Cat. A room, editor speaks over desk. Desk, editor speaking to Ash. Monologue. He addresses Ash. Ash? Oh, Ash, wake up, Ash. Straight, gay, as happy. No nuisance city. A cat without nuisance. Mr. Saul or Paul, your name is Edmund. Pop culture play. Other titles, War of Fun, huh? All right. Oh, the play with many titles. Quotes. UHM exclamation mark. Exclamation mark. A play in 2X to be continued. 2022 AD. Ash and Sniffles. Written by Cole Spivey, aka Ash Cole. Out of time. Signature. Make it an initial. Lights up on a townhome. Okay, so tomorrow we're going to get into the townhome description, which is going to be all of this. So this is important. I told you I was going to do it tonight. But the reason why is because I had to add the monologue, which is basically the introduction of the play's title and David Bowie. Then after curtain rises, we begin the song of the dialogue. Okay, guys?